Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's an all-you-can-geek bonus round for Stranger Things Season 2, a spoilercast, for those wondering. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Maxine.
What's up?
Corey Feinside.
Hashtag Barb is a bitch.
And Tony Korkodakis.
Bitchin'.
Welcome, listeners and viewers, to the spoilercast for Stranger Things Season 2.
Did you guys, just real quick, watch the honest trailers for Season 1 for Stranger Things?
No.
I don't remember. If I did, it was a while ago.
They had a really good line about Barb, though, where it's like, the most talked about character with the least amount of screen time since Boba Fett.
Yeah.
That is highly
Not
accurate.
quite that bad.
I think that's pretty highly accurate, actually. I think that's pretty close. Because Boba Fett was in Empire, don't forget, as well. So he had some airtime.
Like 2 scenes.
Yeah, he had some airtime. He said like a couple lines.
He got his Han Solo thing,
he did.
and then
he was gone.
delivered him,
Jedi.
and then
Spoilers there. Spoilers in the spoiler cast. So again, this is a spoiler cast, so we're gonna get into Stranger Things Season 2, and we're gonna talk about the stuff that happens. We're gonna break it down, talk about what
tables will be flipped.
Talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and our expectations, what's coming up. So guys, let's get right into it. Again, don't listen if you haven't.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Last warning, here we go. All right, guys, we're going to kick it off with, just from the beginning, Chapter 1.
Mad Max.
Yeah, I think we get that beginning intro, wow. That was where it started off.
The cold open?
It was funny because I remember seeing that and thinking, oh, this reminds me of The Dark Knight. I think I actually said that. And then turns out they did it on purpose that way.
They went on record saying that was inspired by The Dark Knight, that first intro with 8, right? 8? She's 8?
I think.
She goes like this.
We don't know at the time. I had no idea.
Tattoo, yeah. So
what was happening?
She never bleeds again, which is funny.
At the beginning, I had no idea what that was about. I thought maybe one of our characters that we've known from Season 1 was in the city. And then it wasn't. It was very strange.
No, you know what it was? I thought that her power actually made that happen. I did not realize that was supposed to be just
that was
illusion.
Well, that was the gotcha moment.
It wasn't until the other cop was like, "What are you doing?" And then
why'd you stop?
It does the pan. And it's like,
I didn't get that from what was happening there. Even after that, I'm still very confused about what happened.
I got that right.
It was kind of obvious once there was nothing there.
Yeah, she was an illusionist.
Well, I couldn't. It was pretty dark. I couldn't tell if what was there or what wasn't supposed to happen. I don't know.
Dumb it down, Mike.
I just it was.
Well, they
Jim's
tried to make you think
it was Jim's HDR TV. Really, it was too dark. I couldn't see what was going on.
Yes, that's right. I had a little Stranger Things party at my house.
I really like Callie as far as as cool moment, but then you're like, okay, now what's going on with that? And it took you
forever
to find out, and it kind of was annoying.
It was a definite is this the right show?
Also, when she does this, her tattoo's upside down, but it still said 008. And then when she shows it to 11, it says 008 the right way. I don't know. It was kind of weird.
I guess.
It should say 800, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was kind of...
So, we got a year gone by? Is that what this is about? Roughly about a year?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is coming up to the anniversary.
Almost a year.
It's
11 keeps counting the days, and Mike keeps counting the days.
Yeah, 353. Yeah, which is, I think, if you add it up, adds to 11.
Mm-hmm.
So, another number 23, maybe? I don't know. But I think that was an Easter egg they put in there.
Yeah.
So, so we get... God, it's been 2 weeks now since I've seen this, so I got to come back 3 weeks, roughly, since we've seen episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to go back.
It was kind of interesting, though, because they start them with the kids. You see them in the arcade now instead of with.
That's right. I was so looking for Polybius to be in the background there. If you know the legend about that video game that may or may not have existed, that may or may not have killed people. I was looking for that, but they didn't do it. I would have liked that, but go ahead.
But it's interesting how they foreshadowed though with the Dragon's Lair and with Dig Dug.
See that? They did that in the first season, so I was watching for this. You have to expect that with episode 1s on this show now, they're going to give that foreshadowing massively.
Wait, what did you think? What did you think the Dragon's Lair?
Well, it was with the Lucas and
Oh, that who gets the girl?
Oh yeah. Okay, I
like-
see what you mean. Yep.
he's like Lucas is like that fish still mine.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, at least I got Dig Dug, and then he doesn't.
And then you don't have Dig Dug. And then we had Dig Dug, which was a lot of digging in this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had the whole Dig Dug thing with Mad Max premiere. We had 2 new characters brought into this episode right off the bat, and it was amazing 80s action. Amazing
introduction.
Introduction. It was a little... Yeah, I guess someone was saying, like, the accuracies of 80s, nobody really cared about butts back then, but I don't know. So, because the girls...
I don't know how true that is or isn't. I mean, it's hard to say.
I mean, all the fashion was about.
We need a
showing off
female
your
from the
ass.
80s to tell us for sure.
Yeah. So we have, on a more serious note, we have the whole Will thing.
Well, who were the introductions? Like we just flew
I'm
past. the
sorry.
introductions.
We have Max,
Who are they?
or was it Maxine? And her...
Nobody calls her that though. Jim.
No.
Come on.
And
and
Douchemaster. What's his name?
Her stepbrother.
Billy.
I forgot. What
Billy?
is his...
Bill.
Billy.
Billy.
Billy. That's right. Who looks a lot like Rob Lowe to me.
Yeah, I'd give you that.
Yeah, I could give you that.
That
yeah.
character, just really quick on the side, there are so many girls on Twitter saying, and Facebook, it's like, I fucking hate this guy, but I would fuck the shit out of him. I'm like, oh my god, like.
Wow.
I can only say that one way.
We've got a year later with, let's see, Will's, almost like PTSD issues with what happened with him. So he gets to see, we get to get to meet what's going on at the company, actually, at this point, too.
Yeah.
See that
And
Paul
I have
Reisner.
to say, I was a little surprised that they would even be there at all at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, we get this introduction of Paul Reiser's character, and of course, you distrust him immediately.
Well,
So that,
the aliens, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we know that obviously they're monitoring him beyond what they even know. So we see the extra screen. So you get the first little bit. There's more
Hints. Yeah, hints.
hints and more mystery surrounding this area again. So yeah, it's interesting, and you wonder where it's going to go right from the beginning, because you're like, you
and they
know,
play on the fact that you knew this company was bad in the first one, so you just automatically assume something shady is going on with this new setup that they've got going on here.
and I do think both with his character and Billy and Friends, you sort of it also plays on the fact that we know that they sort of inverted expectations a little bit in the last season of like sort of obvious like archetype characters that they bring in. It's like, yeah, this is an archetype, but then like, is it going to be the whole way through?
Yeah.
Like Steve was in last season.
Yeah. So, like, what we can do here is, this whole intro. Let's go through the first chapter here. We don't have to break down every chapter of the show, because that'll take us a while. But we'll hit on some key points. But we'll talk about these characters more as we go into the show. But so just like getting this off the ground here, we have Hopper is with, obviously.
I thought Hopper was kind of a dick in the beginning.
He was, but
To Murray, and you meet Murray.
You get to meet
Like to
Murray. That's
everybody.
right. I did like the Murray.
everybody.
I did like the Murray
I
character,
don't know.
like showing up for Barb, trying to do
He's-
the investigation for more Barb stuff.
He's got to be a dick to Murray though, because he can't.
Oh no, I understood that. I didn't care about that, but I just thought he was being a dick to 11, to Will.
How?
Just because. How?
Yeah. What is he supposed to do?
I don't know. Let her be a kid.
Well, he
He
doesn't,
is
know
letting
what, he
her
doesn't know
be
what
a
he's
kid.
doing with this. Like, he's not been, like, his girl died.
She's not a kid.
But she's also the most dangerous person in the town.
Yeah.
That's got to be crazy for him. But, I think that, like...
She's getting waffles and TV. I thought originally that she was communicating, sort of almost communicating, I guess, with Will behind his back, but he like asked her about it later. I'm like, oh, so he knows she's doing that. He's kind of okay with it.
You mean Mike?
Checking
Mike.
Mike, yeah.
Yeah.
Mike.
It's fucking names.
Yeah. So, did we cover all the characters pretty much in this episode? Did we get to meet Sean Astin's character in this episode?
I don't think.
I think so.
I don't know. We can break down the characters though. Like rather than go episode, we always do better breaking down these characters throughout the season. But I think that we also have Nancy and
Bob.
Steve. We have Nancy and Steve in this, and we have I know. Shake your head at Nancy and Steve. Not Steve. Nancy, really. Steve's character, by the way, just for the record.
Steve is my favorite character in the
Yes,
series.
my favorite character is Steve. And it was like, I was very happy that I chose that as my Halloween costume this year. But, because I just, his character was okay last season, but I just felt like he really...
He was the man
took over this year, yeah. Yeah. His later pep talk about being on the bench. We're not on the bench. Oh, wait. We're on the bench. That's okay, though.
Gotta wait for the starting lineup to do their job.
Yeah.
I think he played well off of the two characters he was pitted with and
I thought that
against.
was a weird mix,
as far
too.
as...
I mean, I'm trying not to get too far ahead of us here, but I thought that was a weird, the weird mixing of characters in this season. But
I think what I was referring to more was like his rivalry with Billy. I think that worked really well.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought his mixing with Dustin was a crazy mix.
Well, again, in the first we see him, it's him and Nancy, like we left off, and they seem okay. But then
he's obviously in love with her.
Yeah, he is more so than I thought in the first season. But...
I know he was way into using the L word.
Yeah, and even at the end, I mean, it was kind of obvious at the end where he, threw away all his friends and his status of king or whatever, and stayed with her and went back for her. So I think that kind of showed where his feelings and his, intentions were. But she obviously had these other ideas going on.
No, that scene, that party scene where she gets drunk.
Yeah,
that was really
bullshit.
Funny. That was funny, but
it's bullshit.
It bordered on being too funny. I think just how she was, but I guess that's how drunk people can be. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes people can get that way. So, that pretty much rounds out the episode. We have the whole everybody getting back to you see their lives continuing from a year ago, and we get this Will's
having some problems
with his vision of this giant shadow figure in the Upside Down. We get that, and that's being attributed from Paul Reiser's doctor character. I can't remember his name at this point. We did get Bob the Brain in this one.
Yeah, I think the weird sort of
He came in to buy a
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went to the back room, and he's like, "Oh, look, they do come in green or whatever like that."
Sean Astin by the way, Bob the Brain, I didn't like in the beginning. I wanted him to die, and I actually really enjoyed his character in this.
Yeah, of course. He's the one who you sort of invert again. The archetype of being this just loser, secondary father who's oh, no one's gonna want this guy around. He doesn't know what he's doing, or you even think early on he might be a spy or a bad guy.
Yeah. Well, that's what we thought about. I thought about the company again. I thought this whole thing was it's being Paul Reiser's character. I expected to be just bad and just the whole front of him being oh, I'm super nice and I'm a good guy, and he's not a good guy.
I'm on your side.
Yeah, but he really was on their side.
He was pretty much face value. Everything. Obviously he still had people being recorded beyond what they knew, and it's still a little bit shady to be we got to keep this covered up because of all this, but he's not. He ended up again. That was by the end of the season. You see that he kind of became not what you expected.
Yeah, and he survives, right?
Yeah, which is a little bit of a convenience thing. That's one of the issues I have with this season.
What do you guys think of the introduction of Dart?
Dart.
Yeah.
I gotta say that to me, the whole Dart thing is probably my most hated aspect of this season because
I think
it dragged Dustin down.
Nancy and Will's brother was I felt
Jonathan
and her didn't do
anything. That was
They're
boring.
escapade.
That was boring. But they didn't actively really hurt their own characters or go against what they were established in season 1 that much. Dustin you're right. They didn't do anything, so they remained neutral.
Okay.
Dustin was a fucking dick. I mean, first of all, you see that thing and you go, "Oh, is this an amphibian? Really, bro? Really? Does it look like it's from this earth?"
He never went to the Upside Down at all, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he never went there.
He did see a Demogorgon.
The Demogorgon looks like a dude with a thing on his head, though. It looks way different than that to him.
Yeah, I would not have thought that was going to turn into a Demogorgon
if you saw that in your trash can,
I thought it was super
If
creepy.
you were-
I didn't think it was gonna be a Demigorgon. I thought it was gonna be
like if you were like a real
I wouldn't
person,
keep it around.
I don't know.
Right. I'm not saying like you should have equated it as a Demogorgon, but like you should have been like,
I have a question.
this seems really concerning.
I have a question. Who's to say that was a Demogorgon? Wasn't it more of a Demohound? Demodog?
Yeah, Demodog, whatever.
Because
the
it
fuck
really wasn't.
Well, that
and-
could be their adolescent
Yeah.
stage.
No,
Who knows?
I do think it was a different creature because they established like it's much weaker than a Demogorgon. It couldn't go out.
Well, it hasn't.
Yeah,
fully
there's so
formed.
many of them. I just feel like that's like.
I don't know. It's another question we have to get
The
into.
aliens
I
effect.
suppose.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know it did. It was.
But anyway,
aliens effect
Dustin
there,
was
yeah.
a complete dick. I mean, all right, first of all, he's kind of stupid about it. And then he
Yeah.
lied to everybody about it. Everybody. Like, it ate his mom's cat. And then he lied to his mom, like, oh, they're looking for him. You should go help them.
Like
Like,
that
that's a
sequence, you're
fucking
like,
dick
once,
thing
once
to
it,
do.
but I thought that reveal was awesome when they reveal what it ate the
Oh,
cat.
the
And turned
reveal
into
was
a
awesome.
Oh, I had a feeling something bad was going to happen to that cat as soon as like
Yeah.
cat was brought up
It's-
by his mom.
Yeah. Well, as soon as it like hissed at the trap, the Ghostbusters trap,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you knew something was gonna go with it.
Yeah, and so like I felt like while Dustin's character didn't start off strong, like because he made those stupid decisions, I felt like his character was fine in the second half of the season. Once it was like Dart's just dead to me essentially. He was still nice to that creature, and it came back to help him in the end, which is hilarious. Not hilarious, but because the thing died anyways, helping him. But
Yeah, you almost feel bad for him.
yeah, not really. It just died next to its musketeer bar.
Which just sort of, it gets a little blurry, like how much of, free will do these things have? But
Yeah, let's talk about let's see what
I have to just real quick before he finds it. They all dress up in the Ghostbusters outfit. And I thought it was pretty hilarious how like Lucas wants to be Venkman as well as like
Yeah.
Mike,
that was
Another
good.
fun.
and then it's like nobody wants to be Winston.
Yeah.
Come on, the guy's not even a
Because I'm
scientist.
black?
He went
Like,
late.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then Dustin turned around and be like, "Oh, guys."
that's so funny because that was in the
That was, like,
trailers.
It was like in the trailer, and it makes you think, "Oh, something's bad is gonna happen." But then, like, it's just nobody's wearing costumes except for these guys.
Yeah.
It's awesome. That was
I thought
awesome.
That was kind of that was actually.
I really liked the new characters. I thought all the new
Yeah.
characters were really
Maxine was
good.
cool.
We talk about
Murray,
Maxine. We can talk about
Maxine, and
Maxine.
Billy were all great.
Let's talk about Maxine.
Yeah, I wasn't sold on them either at first, but they
all
I
turned out
was
obviously.
sold on Maxine for a little. I didn't like. I don't know. She was the female replacement for 11, which is cool because the show kept reminding us about this. Like, 'cause
And
11
it's
was
funny, I
separate
didn't
from
even
that whole
really
time.
like view her that way, even though the
I didn't view her-
characters kind of
that's
did.
That's just how Mike interpreted it because the
Well,
other
that's-
guys were
But that's
interested.
what we were looking. That's the way they shot it too. Like that's the idea behind it. Like she was supposed to not supposed to be the replacement for 11, but that's the way that they wanted. Like the audience could perceive it the way it was. It's tough to describe.
And it was the reverse. Like now, like this is someone that the other guys can like
Yeah,
be infatuated
another,
with
you know,
instead
girl
of
in the group,
Mike
yeah.
being infatuated with 11. So.
Yeah, she's not like the replacement for 11. I didn't mean it like that.
But like, the whole thing was, you can't be in the party.
That's
and
what I mean.
stuff.
They kept
Like,
reminding you, you're
Yeah.
not part of the party. And
Yeah, Mike was being such a dick. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
damn, Mike, you're being
well,
a
his
fucking
friend,
dick.
I mean, she died. I mean, or he thought. And,
Right, which made Hopper a dick.
oh yeah. But yeah,
Again,
so let's talk
what's he
about
supposed
Maxine's
to do?
brother, and then we'll move into the actual main cast again. So Maxine's brother in this, a guy I really hated. And
love to hate.
I still didn't like. I mean, I still didn't feel anything for him when we found out what his father was doing.
That wasn't that interesting to me.
Yeah.
I was really the way they presented both of them actually at first. I was expecting something way more like dramatic to be their background than it's just like, oh, it's just like a broken half-assed family now.
Yeah, it was interesting because she's like, don't call her that. Like, what? Your sister? It's like, she's not my sister. It's like, oh, something's going on here.
She's my stepsister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of an accurate portrayal.
Oh, I'm not
If-
saying it's
if
just
everyone's an
we were expecting
asshole,
something
yeah.
more. We were expecting something more. I think that's really what it was.
It was just-
at
It
first
wasn't
I thought-
more than what it was. It was
first,
exactly
I-
what you thought it was going to be.
I thought they were
that's what the
tied
issue with it.
to the opening scene people. Like there was a big criminal thing that happened, and like they had to go on the lam or something and change their names.
Oh, I
That's
didn't
kind
think
of
that
what
at
I
all.
thought.
I just,
I didn't
I just thought like there's something else that's going on, but I mean they did the obvious thing, which is fine.
We got a lot of Jesus, was it? I'm trying to think of what characters we got. Like we can talk about here. Well, we can talk about Hopper. Hopper's. Did we get a lot of growth with Hopper? Not really.
We just got. Well, no, we got Hopper and 11 sort of forming a real bond.
For Hopper in terms of like.
No, that's a big thing. Like their bond is like for me one of the things I like the most about this season.
Yeah, I did like. I mean, she was in that cabin for most of this season, so that was kind of weird for us. Like, they did take her out of the equation, and when you have, I guess, an all-powerful, like a super powerful character, it's like tough to have her.
Well, again, like she's supposed to be dead, and like everyone would be searching for her if they knew she was not.
Yeah,
so.
No, I get that. Keeping her in the cabin in the woods, essentially, and out in the middle of nowhere, and that was interesting. Hopper was a dick. Like a lot of the season, even like later on, he still was. It's just like
I don't see how he was a dick again. Yeah. I just don't. He just did what he had to do in the situation.
Yeah, it's a hard spot to be in, but for me, I think
he did what he had to do, but he did it in a dick way.
My biggest gripe with this show was 11, actually.
Well, that's what we're going to get into now. We just talk about 11, and then we have other characters to talk about, because 11, in my opinion, also didn't have much impact until the end. Like, I didn't feel like she was doing much. She was kind of just...
Yeah. I'll actually go out and say I really hated the standalone episode.
Yep.
Yeah, I hated that.
Worst episode.
Yeah, that was
worst episode. Yeah, absolutely.
Problem with that episode, aside from all these new characters who were, like, just stupid, like, stereotypes... was they're all just like awful people too. Like, and even her like sister, who's not in any way her sister, it's just like she's like awful. Like, and the whole and it's just gonna be that episode. You're just waiting for her to realize like these people kind of suck. You should leave them.
Mm-hmm. It was a weird thing, like, and we mentioned earlier, but like it took forever to get there. First of all, and then. For them to finally do it, it just made no sense really with the story. I felt like it didn't add anything. Like all it was there to do was to introduce another person that has power. So hey, there's more people like this, and there's more than just one. But we already knew that from the cold open of the show, and then it allowed her to tap into that extra, power that she has somehow.
And it is a little bit of like character work for her too, we get a sense of her morality.
Stupid though. It's like I'm just gonna hop on a bus, go to Chicago, and then hop back on a bus and come back from Chicago.
It was stupid.
She didn't hop on a bus. She hitchhiked first
to the mom's home, but she hopped on a bus to go. To Chicago. I know. I'm just
okay. But the reason why they did it is they wanted her to form her own I guess morality. An identity like that and
I guess she obviously can just enter that zone anytime now. Doesn't need a deprecation tank or whatever they call them.
She had the radio sound.
White noise.
She started with the noise and the blindfold. Then she just went to the blindfold, and I think by the end she just closed her eyes. I think she progressed throughout the season.
Her powers were growing, and that's what I guess what that episode 7 character brought out in her. But
yeah, I mean, and the way she did that was is that a good thing? It's tap into your hatred. Yeah. It's whoa, okay.
All right.
Very Magneto
the sister was
here.
like the I was going to say that exactly. She's a Magneto, use your anger.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I felt like her character came in to just kind of save the day at the end, and that was.
Oh no, she was a cleared Deus Ex Machina at the end of this season.
Yeah.
And also, the thing about that also bugged me, now we're going to the end, or near the end, why did the smoke monster, or whatever you want to call it, Mind Flayer, send one demidog to go after those people where Will was? We thought, because you hear all the noises, you think it's going to be that's going to be the whole pack of them. And it's just the one that 11 kills, and once she kills that one, everyone's all right, we're safe.
Well, I only watched it once, but I heard multiple things. You hear a bunch of cracking, but I think she only threw one through the window.
Yeah,
that's how I
came through the window. That's what I got.
So we think she cleared out a bunch of them.
All of them, yeah.
That's how I
thought that they sent the scout.
I took it like she was taking on a bunch of them out there. That's what I took it as. Do you guys think that Demodog in the fridge is going to come back to?
It's going to have to do something.
Yeah.
Because like I thought that
back
like,
to life.
he got
I
an
mean, like,
idea
in
of where
terms
they
of-
were, and then so he sent like one dog is what I thought that has happened.
Yeah, I got the impression that like because everyone was calm as soon as they knew that one was dead. I didn't get the feeling that we were supposed to think there was a bunch.
Well, I think everyone was calm because she walked through the door, and
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah,
what-
I know, but still,
at the
I don't
same
know.
time, I didn't realize.
I'd like to rewatch the
Yeah,
scene.
I think I
but
will.
that was my
The scene-
interpretation.
That was kind of a weird thing.
So, you know,
All right, let's go back to early.
Lucas. What do you guys think about Lucas? This season has
Lucas
had
isn't an asshole this season.
had a good character this season. I liked it.
He was good because, he was sort of the voice of reason for most things. And he had a good relationship thing going on with Max. But the last season he was a total dick.
Yeah. Well,
I
no,
kind of
mean, he got
hated
into
him.
we got into an argument with Mike more or less.
I kind of hated him most of last season, to be honest.
I don't think we had much of his character. Same thing with Dustin. We actually got family from both of these kids in this season, which we didn't get last season. So it was cool to actually get expanded characters for them, which was a good idea. They really needed to do that this season to expand them because I feel like if we got the same thing from, we saw, Mike's parents who. The worst father in the world. He's the worst.
Dustin calls him out on that, like son of a bitch.
He
you're
is so
worthless."
bad that he got. He is so bad that he got the audience to root for the human villain to fuck his wife.
Yeah, I feel like no, Dustin calling him out there. That sequence was hilarious. I mean, that was just hilarious.
That is the one part I did like about Dustin, like how he just did not respect adult authority at all. It's just like, well, shit.
Son of a bitch.
And then we get So Lucas had a pretty good season.
Definitely better.
He
than
got the
first.
girl. It was, I don't know. Lucas is nothing for me as a character still.
Oh really?
I don't find him interesting at all.
Yeah, I don't.
He's
He
not,
doesn't have much of a personality.
There's
Like,
not much else to him, but
Yeah,
his
there's
personality in the
nothing to him.
first season was a bit of a hothead, really.
Yeah, he was a hothead.
Yeah.
He was, And he
But
was
now he
jealous. Yeah.
I guess he's mature now, so now I'm like, what is he other than a guy who likes a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was like, he doesn't do anything really
But
important.
again,
this
he
season.
sort of was the voice of reason of everyone because he wasn't aside from her, he wasn't as weird about it as Dustin was. Everyone else is caught up in their own shit, kind of, and he's just like, all right, guys, bring it back.
Yeah. What about
Will?
Will. Yeah.
Well,
I really liked what they did with Will this season.
yes, he was actually there most of the time, and his
Yeah.
acting was crazy.
He did a great job with his acting, but
Oh, yeah.
I felt bad because
Well, I was worried about him actually because
man.
we didn't. I was worried about his acting because we hadn't seen him in the season.
No, and
before.
you were wondering, and he wasn't even with the group of kids in a lot of appearances last year, which I thought was kind of fucked up, to be honest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because he was in it a bit. He was just always at the end of episodes, just shown somewhere. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
He,
didn't know if he had the chops.
I know we
So-
talked about it when at your party, but we were really I know there was a concern that he would just kind of be gone this season again.
Yeah.
But I like how even though he was gone in a way, it wasn't absent,
Mhm.
away from the other characters. Just
I like the.
fucked up.
I love the foreshadowing about becoming a spy and
Yep.
yeah, I thought
they
that was
knew
really
that
cool.
was going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And,
really liked his story in this season. I really did.
His acting was real good, and there's a lot of scenes though where this kid has to act like he's in crazy pain. It was hard to watch a lot of them. It's just see
ugh.
this he looks much younger than I don't know how old he is compared to the
Yeah, he looks
other
the
kids,
youngest
but he's
now.
looked younger than them.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 11 or 12 still, and he's just there convulsing
11?
all the time,
Yeah.
I just want to throw it out there though. I didn't like
derailed.
what they did to him because I know you guys are all liking it.
Taking him out of it.
What do you mean
No.
you didn't like what they did?
No, I just it's all about Will again. I didn't like that. And I understand.
Yeah.
I understand
mean, they
it.
can't do it
and-
again, and also they can't dress up their house with craziness where Winona Ryder going crazy again. They've done that twice now, and they
Yeah,
can't do
that
both
needs-
of those
Well,
things.
that's what I
again.
mean. Finally, it's over with, and you can't
But-
do that again.
Yeah,
Because,
I agree.
It felt
That's
it was really you're gonna just focus on this kid again being the
But no, I mean, it made
Trigger
sense,
golden.
kind of, really. Cause,
No, I understand that. It makes sense. I'm just I kind of wish it wasn't him again.
well, I know for sure, you can't put him in danger.
They
In
had
the
the
third
tie-in still
season.
from the first season. That's why.
No, yeah, I know.
I kinda
That's
like
how we
that, though,
ended
because
last season
it's-
too.
to me that's kind of like a horror trope where the monster comes back in the sequel.
Mhm.
you know, and even like 'cause season 1 was all about rescuing Will, and then nobody felt like, oh, you know, that really fucked him up, and he was, you know, also infected, you know, in a way.
And it ties in, like, no, it ties in, like, obviously he spit out that slug in the end of season 1.
Right.
But, like,
I see where you're coming from. I agree with you.
I'm just glad he was there. I mean, it's
they
good,
can't do it again with Will next year. Like,
yeah, no, Will needs to be totally safe. Again, so you're thinking, like, oh, God, is this kid, like, just going to die again? And you were worried.
To see a healthy Will, like, in action with
Will needs to, be pretty... I would say Will needs to be, like, safe throughout all of season 3.
Like, it seemed like Will was Mike's better friend too. Like out of the
they talked about that in the first.
Yeah, I know. That's why Mike is the one we haven't gotten to here. Mike was like just emo Mike, which is apparently what Finn, what's his name? Wolf something. That's the
actor.
Yeah, he called him emo Mike for the most of this season in the after show because it's true. He's all upset because
I'm mad.
No, because 11's gone. And his friend is all fucked up.
And his other friends are infatuated with a girl.
With a girl who is not the girl he cares about, so he doesn't want anything to do with her.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, again, just wrap up Will. I understand it is something they did sort of in the first season, have him to be the, like, you know, pinnacle turning point thing, but it was different just because he was there, I think, and like still trying to do stuff. I know that in the end he ended up bedridden again, but I think they definitely though like hit their limit with that. Like they can't do that again.
Yeah, I think that like let's tackle Bob, you know, Will's mom, and
Bob was the best.
Who was the third person I wanted to tackle? Oh, the reporter. So
Murray.
I mean, those are the three that Bob was the best. He turned out to be like I
Murray was
really
the
like.
best.
No, I really like Bob.
No, I didn't like Murray. I thought he was like a little too jokey for me.
He
like,
had my favorite. He had my favorite line in the whole show.
Which was your favorite line?
Oops.
Which was apparently ad-libbed.
Oh, was it?
I saw that. I'm like, was that? Yeah, because he wasn't supposed to just. It doesn't really make sense to like just like have him drop his food there. But when he did, he's just like, "Oops," and then everyone like lost it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I think Bob was great.
Bob was great because
it's a good addition, and being Sean Astin didn't take away from it. Like
no,
it wasn't like a.
It was a good homage.
I mean, it's sort of the tradition of the show now that you get like '80s icons and just cast them anyway.
Well, you get like a show that's people have
like
said
Paul
like
Reiser,
kind of like Goonies, and they threw a Goonie into it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but it was. I mean.
Yeah.
It was funny though because at first you're like, oh, this guy, like, and if he stayed how he was, like how we perceived him there, it would have been like, all right, this is a stupid character, like who cares?
No, I thought his progression to what he became was perfect, like the way he paced through.
And I really like what they said at the end. I think it was Will or Mike when one of them picked up his stuff and was like, "Did you guys know that he was actually the reason that the AV Club like existed in the first place?" And kind of brought it together because like he is an adult version of the kids, you know, like really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what the impact was for us at the end there. That was a little payoff. You know, they didn't give us another.
And he actually used the computer properly too.
Barb. Yeah, he did. They didn't give us another Barb. You know, they did have the reporter in here to wrap up Barb's story.
That storyline I think is the weakest thing in this whole thing.
It's terrible.
It's done now, which is nice.
Anything with Barb is terrible.
No, but I mean, just like the whole thing. First of all, so Nancy goes crazy and goes back to like an escapade with Jonathan here, and then they have to deal with Barb's like humorously like casted parents and KFC, which is all fun and good. But
I mean, finger licking good.
Yes. And they just go through this
it's dumb. It's so dumb. Absolutely dumb.
Yeah.
Their entire arc is, hey, let's go fuck up and try to get this company in trouble, which doesn't even really matter in the grand scheme of things. And by the way, we're gonna fuck on this trip.
But even like he said, like it's not really. You can't take the whole place down. You got to do small things, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it's not believable.
Well,
right. Like they didn't really impact the story at all.
Yeah.
I did like the reporter's idea about like how the whole watered down thing.
Yeah.
That was like kind of cool, even though
because it was unexpected. Because I think most other shows or movies would have been like, oh look, scandal, and everyone would have been. Yeah, you know.
And it was kind of funny in the beginning where like you have this guy who's obviously like a big conspiracy nut, and they just walk in there and just be like, "Oh, your timeline's wrong," and he's just like, but
it is hard because I did like parts of him. I liked when
he had some good moments.
Yeah, he did
but
have some good moments. He's like, if you guys need to
seemed-
get in touch with me, don't, and like just slams the door down.
He just seemed like a character from like a different type of thing, though. He was just like he is the archetype that sort of stayed with his archetype.
I liked the fact that he was just like, because I felt the standalone episode was just out there and didn't mean anything, but I liked him being there because it was kind of like a break from the whole like the drama, like you mentioned in like the movie cast, where the drama needs to be there for the comedy to be good, and the comedy needs to be there for the drama to be good. Mm-hmm. And I think that they played on each other really well. And I think that he was a big part of that too, because like you kind of laugh.
That said, there was a lot of when the drama was like at how it was. I sort of didn't care that Nancy and Jonathan were gonna like have sex.
That was
I was like in love with Steve, so I was like, "Fuck Jonathan! Don't fuck Jonathan!"
Don't
fuck
Jonathan.
I know. I'm like, goddamn, Steve's just being like he's being the awesome guy right now, carrying the kids around. Like he's what?
Steve can do so much better now.
Oh yeah, no, he's better. He's better.
Steve can do so much better.
I said the same thing when that happened. I'm like, fuck it, Steve's good. He's fine. You know, I love like the whole like teaching like Dustin about the hair, and like it was just like you tell everybody.
You act like you just don't care.
Yeah, and giving him like taking Dustin under his wing in this season was just awesome, and that was a weird, unlikely pairing at her house, at Nancy's house.
I love too when he drives to her house and he has flowers and he's like, he's giving him some pep talk. He's like, "I love you. I'm sorry. What the hell am I sorry for?"
Yeah, I love
like,
that.
It's so realistic. You're just like, what the fuck am I sorry for? And then Dustin shows up. He's like, "Loverboy, we gotta go." It's like, what?
She's not here anyway. Yeah, I thought that was cool. Let's see.
Jonathan himself, does he? He's just
hold on. Before we move off to Steve, I was really actually scared for him in the abandoned yard, car yard or whatever.
I was actually I was like, oh shit, shit.
Like especially when you saw multiple demi-dogs.
Yeah.
I was like,
I thought he was going there. I thought he was going there. Yeah. When he was doing the raptor thing to them. Yeah. I was like,
he was definitely, you know, they even said it was like, oh, it's a self-sacrificial thing to do. It's like, oh shit. Now, I was worried about him and Hopper, to be honest. Like those two characters were the ones I kind of knew Bob was screwed from the moment we saw him. But
what are you saying?
Now, here's the one thing that I wanted to bring up in terms of like, what did this mean? And I want your opinions on it. All right. So when Will came back, he spit up the slug thing, whatever, crawled down the sink, and you know we all assumed that wound up being Dart. Okay, but then during that sequence, when we see all these other Demodogs, what was the reason behind it? Was it Dart like replicating or hosting, or like were there just other specimens out there for some reason? Because they didn't really touch upon that.
They didn't. Yeah, that was I wonder what that was.
I thought that was really weird.
Yeah, me too.
Like it could be that, or they just could have came out of the tunnels that were growing.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I mean, let's talk about the villain too. I mean, do you want to move on? We're good for the characters there. We can talk about the villain.
I really want to talk about Winona Ryder's character real quick.
We didn't talk about her.
I liked her, but I felt like she didn't really do much.
She was like
it felt the same.
She was smarter though.
Same thing, and that's my problem with Will and like the storyline with Will and stuff. Is just this, they were just retreading the same ground again.
Exactly. So,
Again, it's a little different because he's actually there, and there was of course.
But for the mom though, it was the same.
A little bit. Yeah. It wasn't quite the same thing because like not everyone's thinking she's like fucking out of her mind and like not listening to her. This time, she actually like came up with like things on her own.
Yeah, I know, but it's just still like Will.
Yeah, but.
Yeah.
I don't care about Jonathan at all. He's missing for 2 days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
She doesn't care. Jonathan's, he's got it. Jonathan. That's the thing about Jonathan is like everyone's like over like, oh, is he really creepy or not? Now it's just like he's just kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even have an identity. At least before he was a creepy dude. Now he's just.
Well, now he's still concerned about Will, but not.
He doesn't do
really
anything. He just does what Nancy wants him to do, and it's like. Okay, you're not doing anything. You can't even shoot a gun. Like, who can fire this rifle? Nancy can. You can't do shit.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
But
at least Steve's good with a bat. So.
One thing would say I don't really buy the whole. I mean, I know we like Bob, but I don't really buy the Bob and Winona Ryder relationship.
Really, I thought it was actually very realistic in the sense that she probably just wants something safe.
She wanted a normal life, yeah.
And they even say it, like Hopper
Yeah,
says it.
I know that, but it didn't. I didn't like feel like the chemistry. Like I felt like the whole like turn was gonna be like, oh, she doesn't really like him, but that never happened. But
maybe just a bad
acting
acting or something between the two of them. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did anyone else not seem like they had like any real chemistry or what?
I mean, I could somewhat see your point because in the beginning, I did kind of feel like, is she just with him to like be with somebody and stuff like that? But like towards the second half, I was like, nah, she actually likes him. I think it's just because of things happen
more though as things progress.
Yeah, I do because like he was okay with the crazy.
Oh yeah, because she actually totally like blew him off. Like when things were, she's like, don't come here, like get out of here.
Don't call me.
And then Bob the Brain, and it's like,
solve the puzzle.
She's like, wait a minute.
She's like, you can't ask any questions. I did love that sequence. She's like, you can't ask questions, but help us figure this out. He's like, okay.
I'm gonna figure this out.
I love his reaction to it. As soon as he walked in, he's like, Nan? Or, what's her name?
Joyce.
Joyce. It's like, Joyce?
See that, but I mean, to Corey's point, that is another thing that again she can't be like the whole season for the next year. Like we got it again. I see why we got it again, but we can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it needs to be done.
She needs to like be able to, I guess, kind of be common. And let's see if Winona Ryder can do it because.
I mean, does she end up with Hopper as well? They end up
that was a little bit there. There seems to be a little there.
Ugh.
I thought there was a little there.
That would be too cliche.
I don't want that to be there, but there felt like that's they were aiming.
After the snowball, though, anything is possible.
Because here's the thing: if they wind up together, then technically Will and 11 or Mike and 11 are kind of like brother and sister, and that's cool.
It would be Will.
They actually
mentioned
that.
I'm sorry, it would be Will. I'm sorry, you're right.
They actually mentioned that on the show too. They'd be like, "Oh, we would be like brother sister." Because, and that's the other thing, those two characters, they never really interact too much, but they're kind of mirror images of each other in certain ways. So.
Oh, and then, now that you mention it real quick, I just want to go back to 11 never fucking got over Mad Max. Like when she purposely tripped him when, her when that, and then when she's like, "Hi, I'm Maxine. I've heard a lot about you," and she just like walks right past her. It's like, yo, 11, show some fucking manners. Like, come on.
She doesn't know manners. She's been experimented on forever.
Is it because it's Hopper's fault that she doesn't know manners?
No, it's because she's from like 0 to 11. She's been in a laboratory. It's not this last year where she's watching TV and eating Eggos all the time.
Yeah. Did we touch? I mean, I guess the villain. What do you guys think of the villain in this season?
The Mind Flayer?
Not as good as the Demogorgon.
No, I mean, obviously the Mind Flayer was bigger in terms of scope, but I just still didn't.
You don't understand anything yet.
Right.
I don't think there's still mystery.
It wasn't
really
terrifying
enough.
Game
where he was moving towards.
Right. There's nothing terrifying about it. At least the Demogorgon, like when it fucked up Barb, and obviously there was a danger there.
Yeah.
Like this, we're just like, all right, you're a big bad shadowy thing, but what are you doing? You're killing some crops. Like, no, oh no, no. Like.
Yeah, the demi-dogs never really went out and like murdered people.
No. Yeah, exactly. And like I feel like if the public were aware of the demi-dogs, it'd be like, all right, get some rifles and get some torches and just fucking light them up. Like, who cares?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the implication was the longer that went, like more things would come out and like. Obviously,
I know, but at least
to me, I'm not even sure. Like, is he like the Upside Down itself?
Well, we don't know that.
We don't know. He's too much of a mystery.
He's like the shadow.
I know that, but like, it seemed like the end game for it or him or whatever was to just like completely make the real world the Upside Down.
Well, he feels like everybody's inferior to him. They mentioned that a few times.
That's what they said.
Yeah,
that's what they said. It doesn't mean
we don't.
They've done a good job with that.
I know.
I did like the reveal though of the fact like, oh, we've been containing this whole thing the whole time by
burning it. The control
burning it, and then like you realize it's just spread out through the entire town, which was cool. And the fact that it is so menacing and like kind of like the end boss, which is cool. I like that because it gives you a reason to go into season 3 with like, all right, now there's mystery here. We haven't solved the actual end game yet, and there is that final boss to.
Yeah, I just feel like they didn't leave this season open-ended enough. Like, obviously, with season 1, they ended on, Will coughing up the slug, dart, whatever. This season, I felt like they didn't really have that open. Obviously, they're going to find some way. It wasn't apparent to me what.
They
he felt like a lot
talked
like
about it a little
yeah,
too,
they did.
because they felt like they were sort of, they wanted to do a certain thing like right away, the way they ended last season, and they're like. They didn't want to do that this season. They wanted to like sort of because
give
they
people
think,
some happy endings here too. I guess.
Yeah, they wanted to sort of because now we hear that it's going to be like maybe a longer time jump between this season and the next one too. So they wanted to sort of like settle things a little more and give themselves more freedom to I think start wherever they want.
That's fair. Then I really wish they didn't end showing the shadow thing again, like the mind flayer.
Well, they want him to
that's just a horror trope,
but
right
they want
there.
him to also be the big bad. It sounds like
that's fine, but I didn't think you needed to show it still being around because obviously it was still around. It's not like 11.
It was close to the door.
Yeah.
Huh?
No, I was gonna say I don't think it's obvious to a lot of people. I think you needed to show it.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Fair enough.
And we go back to like how the last season ended. We still don't really understand what happened with 11 and the Demogorgon too much. She just ended up in the Upside Down, which the way they were linked, you kind of thought they were like mirror images, and they would just both be gone. So,
and the other thing that
wouldn't it be crazy if like the Demogorgon just ends up somewhere on like normal Earth then?
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
I mean,
it should.
Going into like kind of what my gripes were with the series, I felt like there wasn't that same sense of urgency, even though technically the stakes were higher. I never felt like any of the characters were truly in danger until like maybe the second to last episode. At least in the first season, you had the monster running around and, obviously had some victims and stuff like that. I really wish early on they had like done something other than like, oh, my crops are rotting.
Yeah, I agree there.
Oh no, you're killing crops? Oh my fucking god, this is so scary.
Not even crops, dude. It's pumpkins.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's eating pumpkins. They're just doing that for like for show. But I agree where like the stakes and it's that whole aliens comparison. For me, that's what it felt like a lot. It's like Alien, like the first one, you didn't know anything really going into it. You didn't know who was gonna be safe, who was not gonna make it. Like you just like, okay, everything's open up in the air. These are the main characters, but we really don't know. What's going to happen? Steve's going to die. Okay, maybe.
I think
John's
that's part of the issue with this being like a second season and now it's a known
now
quantity.
You know.
We
know
all these characters now they have a sort of like stock with each of them. Like, they don't, but we know that they have more stock. Like we know that like so now, 11 is iconic now.
11, Mike, the four boys, 11, Jonathan, Nancy, and Joyce and Hopper are not going anywhere anytime.
I thought Hopper was on the chopping block in both seasons. To be honest, I was worried about him in the first and this season.
I thought he was too popular to go. I mean,
he's popular and I liked him.
Oh wow, he's stuck in this thing, but he's getting out. I never thought he was. Like I said, I didn't feel like anyone was threatened. As far as the main characters go,
I think Hopper could have died at any point. To be honest,
I thought the only person was Jonathan. I mean, not Jonathan. Steve. Because once he got,
I was worried about Steve
I guess
and Hopper.
Could go, but now he's become such a popular character.
I think Steve is too popular now to die. Next.
I think he's going to die next season, though.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think Steve dies next season.
I think he does because they didn't write for him to like exist past the first season, and now they
were going to kill him off in the first season, and they changed his character midway through.
So I'm like,
he was supposed to be Billy. I mean, I assume he was supposed to be Billy. Like
So then they brought. I'm sure maybe that is why they brought Billy into it because that was supposed to be
But I would bet on the fact that the character I mentioned will make it through season 3.
I'm gonna say Hopper wouldn't. The guy is moving on to movies.
I could see Hopper dying eventually.
He could die eventually, but I see not season 3. No way.
There's only going to be like 4.
He's got to get with Joyce first. I mean, that's like obvious that's happening. Right?
He'll be. I think he could be a candidate for like the finale of next season.
The only way I could see something like that happening is if like it comes out that he was a rapist or something in real life.
Yeah.
No way. I think he's in danger of that character.
I think he is too, Mike. I think he is too.
Yeah, but I don't see it.
I was watching that show thinking he was in danger because I know that the actor himself.
I think you're projecting because I think you just want somebody from the main cast to be like in danger, but really nobody's in danger.
Movies.
No.
No, I don't see it.
I think he and Steve are in danger for sure.
You need a character. You need a character death. Mainstream. You need a mainline character.
I know. That's what you need.
You guys want to do bets for season 3 then?
Needed.
Well,
Character deaths for season 3?
Yeah, we could do that right now. I was gonna say.
I would say,
I bet Hopper
fine.
dies.
I will bet.
Let's do
that
individual
one
characters.
of those
Individual
two.
characters.
We can't do that. I can't say either Steve or Hopper.
No, you pick
No.
By the
I'll
end of
say
next
Hopper.
season.
I will say Hopper. I will say Hopper will die.
Hopper dies by the end of next season.
Yes, I will say.
Yeah,
I'll take Corey's side on this one. No, I don't see it happen.
I will say it.
I think it's fine. I'll go with Jim.
All right, 2 versus
Okay.
2 bet. All right, for season 3.
Right.
I'll take Jim and you take Mike then.
Yeah.
And I don't
That.
want him to because I think he's one of my favorite characters in the show.
You guys want to double down with Steve? You guys want to do double down with Steve?
I don't think they would do 2 though.
You think
so if
Steve
they did
will die?
1,
You think Steve will die?
No, I don't think Steve will die.
I don't think he'll die either.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was worried about him this season.
I was worried, but
So the biggest thing for me, and now that the bet is official,
Yeah.
that Hopper does not die, is he just got a daughter, and she just got a father. They're not going to kill him next season.
I bet you they do.
There's no way.
I bet you they do.
And what do you think about Jane? I don't like that name.
No, she's
Yeah.
got to be 11.
I don't like
Every
the
time
hair. I don't like the hair.
No.
It's
The
so
whole, the whole excursion was kind of annoying, to be honest. And she almost killed Harvey Weinstein and didn't. Didn't anyone else thought that guy looked like Harvey?
Oh god.
I'm like,
Terrible
kill him.
comparison. But yeah, I didn't like that whole side story for her this season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
it
she got
was-
to
it
meet her
was
mom, but still, I'm like,
and then even the thing where like she's like, oh, he's alone, but then there's kids. I was like, oh, come on, like. I would have been fine with just a picture, and then like, oh, maybe he's like divorced. And
I did like the Matthew Modine part though, with the Papa.
yeah.
oh,
I thought that was.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
So that's setting up for next
You
season.
guys
Is he
need
alive?
to actually watch that after show because
I plan on it.
the actress had some really interesting thoughts about like her relationship with that character. That the Duffer Brothers were there with her, and they're like, really? Because
Really?
she's like,
I'll watch that then. I will watch that. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
know that was
she's-
on there.
because in her mind, she said, first of all, she said that scene was like the hardest thing she had to do this season or ever.
I could see that.
With the one with Matthew Modine, and then she says, and part of it was that she thinks 11 still has like some love for Papa,
I could see that because I mean,
and the
Maybe it's
Duffers
for
were like,
Papa.
huh?
So I'll
But
watch
she's
that.
like, yeah.
All right. Overall impressions of the season. I thought it was a very good season 2. I thought it was a good follow up. I thought it was a lot more fun this season. A lot more, like a little bit humor mixed into it. They had
A lot more
fun with the
action
characters.
packed.
Yeah, more fun with the characters. I actually enjoyed this. Not as strong as season 1 because season 1 had the impact factor of what the hell is going on. But I thought this was as strong as a season 2 could be.
Yeah, I would agree with
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I still think like standalone season 1, like you could like that
The thing
could
with
have been
season
perfect.
1 was like, yeah, it was like so great and so
Self-contained.
well done, and like such a great world that they built, and then you just want to see more of it, and then
Yeah.
you did get to see more of it, and it was really good, and
But you
because it
could
was
pick
really
apart-
good, like you're like, oh, this is so great, but there are some flaws that we'll have to see how they go moving forward, but yeah, I love seeing the characters again.
I mean,
that was great.
For you, Corey, it didn't have Barb. So
Oh, she was still in there technically.
There were pictures of her.
yeah, she was still there. But,
Yeah.
She was there in spirit.
So
It's so
Honestly,
funny.
I like this. I think pretty much just as much as the first season.
I'm not saying it's far apart. I'm just saying I like.
Yeah, I want to say it's part. It's
Yeah.
just,
I
like,
do
season
like that
1
they
was-
named it like Stranger Things 2. It's like
Yeah, I did
this
like
is
that.
just 2. Like we're calling it a
Because
sequel.
because it's like a sequel. Because for me now, like part of the like dread in this, because I really did think like Steve and or Hopper were gonna die. So like I care about these characters a little more the second time around. So like that, and like
Invested.
11, like it's hard. Like I don't know if I've like wanted a character to be happy more than like her in a
Yeah, I
while.
can see that. No, I can see that. I
so-
feel the same way. It's like, come on, like just let her go trick or treating. Come on, give her that.
The,
like,
the,
and then, like,
the,
that
the force
ending is,
pushing
like,
that she
oh.
did in the cabin was pretty cool. They got into that argument because I felt like, oh wait, she could like totally do some damage here,
Yeah, she
like
could,
and not mean to. Like that is like the only time I felt like, oh, Hopper might be in danger here just by accident or something.
I know, but I like how like he didn't like act like totally like scared and like back down. He's just like, what you did was stupid. So
I felt
No,
like,
I mean-
Corey, I felt that was more tension for him being the father character for her and finally having a father figure. I felt that also put him in jeopardy.
I really like. Yeah, I thought that. I thought he might die in the very end too. Like
Yeah.
when she's closing the thing and he's like,
That's
you know,
what I
Resident
thought. Like that was
Eviling.
like they finally like kind of got to like accepted each other and they had that talk in the truck. I thought
I
that
This
can
is
see
a
where you guys
Japanese
came from.
anime, Jim.
Huh?
This is not a Japanese
I
anime.
No,
just-
but
it
I
could
honestly
happen.
thought like
Okay.
at the end, like he's all tired too. At the end, I'm like, oh, he's gonna turn around and there's gonna be like some things sticking out of his
I can
back
see
or
where you
something.
guys. I could see like your point of view is just when he didn't die in the underground. I was like, nah, he's gonna be
Yeah.
fine. Like that was
the
how
only thing in my mind. I'm like, well, he didn't die there, and if they do that, then I'm gonna be a little annoyed that they just
because
they
Yeah.
what do they
Like
call
Glenn?
it?
To me,
they Glenned
if
us.
he
They
had
Glenned
Glenn-
us. Yeah.
to me, if they were really going for that like emotional, like oh, like you know that character like just died and it's gonna have emotional impact because like if you
That
think
was
about it, he
Bob.
would have died while 11 was gone and like just you know she comes back and finds out that you know he had died. She would have been beating up herself about it like so
Yeah.
much. It would have felt like shit.
That was also
And they did the whole death thing with oh no, finally got happiness and blah 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 with Bob. Like Bob's character, like yay.
Yeah,
They-
that's true.
And then
So here's the thing. So those things, the demodogs, they are eating people, but they just sort of bite a little, nibble on Paul Reiser's leg a little bit and go away.
How about the
yeah.
yeah? I
Well,
guess-
they all
Yeah.
eat Bob, but they don't really eat.
well, they
anybody
also
else.
did get called.
They only
away.
want to eat
But
Bob.
wait, Mike, they did get called away because there was more pressing matters. He obviously the Shadow King guy, the Mind Flayer, was controlling them, and they got called away. So they were going to multiple spots.
Yeah,
So
I
that
do
could have
admit it's a little fishy where I'm just like
That
that's,
could have happened though. That could
That's
have
Yeah.
weird.
because I mean they were rescued in the tunnels because they got called away.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there was
I think it's a little fishy.
there was some iffy things, and also I thought it was iffy that Hopper decided to just jump down that hole too. I'm like,
yeah,
why
Yeah, it's
would
like,
you
what do
go in there, dude?
Like what are you hoping to find here, bro? Like
he kind of knows what it is.
yeah.
But
So,
Alright. So yeah, overall I thought it was a great season. Anything else to add, guys?
I thought it was good. I was kind of happy with the sort of happy ending for the characters, at least for now. At the end of the,
Sure.
I'd be an 8.5, I think, with this
I don't
season.
know if I can't even give it a score right now. I don't know where I'd be. But I'd probably give it a 9. Probably a 9.
I mean, I have it like somewhere between like 8.
I don't know what I don't
8.5
remember
to
what I
9,
gave season
something
1,
like
but I
that.
did like season 1 better. So
Yeah.
I'll,
But I would probably give season
whatever
I would-
whatever season 1 was, I'll go half a point lower.
Yeah, I'm with you, Corey. Like whatever my season 1 score was, like
Yeah,
I give
that's
season
true.
just
Yeah.
a half point lower.
That's where I'm at. Yeah, that's where I'm at. We're all in agreement there. Maybe Mike's a little lower, or a little about the same. Actually, I'm sorry, you're the same.
I'm pretty high on this one, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, all right. I think that's going to wrap up the this spoiler cast of Stranger Things season 2. Write us what you thought of it. Podcast at allgeek.net. You can also write comments on our YouTube channel there and subscribe to us as well. Follow us on Twitter. Talk to us.
Chime in on our bet. What do you
Chime
think?
Chime
What do
in
you
on
think's
the
gonna
bet.
happen?
Who do you think is
Yep.
biting it next season?
Hashtag Barb is now Hopper.
Yeah. Tune in to the Gamescast, Moviecasts. More content coming at you soon. Thanks for listening.
It's gonna be a busy season.
Yeah, oh yeah.